Welcome to Wise Being. Have you ever met someone who seems calm, confident, and incredibly put together, but beneath the surface, they're fighting an invisible battle? That's the reality of high-functioning anxiety. They show up early, meet deadlines, and even crack jokes at parties. But inside, there's a constant hum of fear, self-doubt, and overthinking that rarely quiets down. High-functioning anxiety isn't always easy to spot because on the outside, everything seems fine. But today, we're pulling back the curtain. Here are 10 hidden struggles of people with high-functioning anxiety. And if any of these sound like you, don't worry. You're not alone, and more importantly, you're not broken. Number 1, they appear confident but constantly doubt themselves from the outside. They're poised, polished, in control. But on the inside, they're battling an endless loop of second-guessing and self-criticism. That compliment they got last week, they wonder if it was just out of pity. That presentation they nailed, they're still obsessing over a word they mispronounced. High-functioning anxiety creates a paradox. You function well enough to appear secure, but your internal world is filled with self-doubt. Number 2, they seem organized, but it's driven by fear. People with high-functioning anxiety are often praised for being meticulous, prepared, and dependable. But what you don't see is that it's not just ambition or discipline, it's a coping mechanism. They overplan because uncertainty makes their anxiety spiral. Their to-do lists aren't just helpful, they're lifelines. The fear of forgetting something, making a mistake, or being seen as inadequate pushes them to overcompensate with structure and routine. Number 3, they can't truly relax. Even during downtime, even when they're lying on the couch or on vacation, their mind is racing. Did I respond to that email? Should I be doing something more productive? What if I missed something important? For someone with high-functioning anxiety, rest can feel uncomfortable. There's guilt attached to slowing down, like they're wasting time or falling behind. So instead of recharging, they stay mentally on, always scanning for the next thing to fix, finish, or prepare for. Number 4, they're often people pleasers. They have a hard time saying no, not because they're weak, but because they're wired to avoid conflict, disappointment, or rejection. Their self-worth is often tied to how useful or likable they are. So they take on extra work, volunteer for favors, and say yes, even when they're stretched thin. And if they do say no, they'll likely over-explain, apologize, or feel guilty for hours afterward. Number 5, they overanalyze every social interaction after a conversation. They'll replay it in their mind like a movie on loop. Did I sound weird when I said that? Were they annoyed with me? Should I have worded that differently? To others, they might seem charismatic and engaged, but after the interaction ends, the mental critique begins, often lasting far longer than the actual conversation. Number 6, they struggle with physical tension and exhaustion. Even when their minds are calm on the surface, their bodies tell a different story. Jaw clenching, shoulder tension, headaches, stomach issues. Their nervous system is in overdrive, fueled by a constant undercurrent of stress. By the end of the day, they're not just mentally drained, they're physically wiped out, and yet they'll still push themselves to keep going. Number 7, they fear success almost as much as failure. It sounds odd, but it's true. Success brings higher expectations, more visibility, more pressure to maintain the image they've built. So while they're driven and capable, achieving something big can actually increase their anxiety. It feels like the more they succeed, the more they have to lose, or the harder it'll be to keep up. It's a constant push-pull between wanting to grow and fearing what that growth might demand. Number 8, they bottle up emotions. They may come across as calm and composed, but that doesn't mean they're not feeling things deeply. They've learned to suppress their emotions, to avoid seeming dramatic or too much. Instead of expressing their anxiety or frustration, they internalize it. They smile through discomfort. They say, "I'm fine," even when they're not. But this emotional bottling only adds more pressure until they either burn out or break down in private. Number 9, they crave reassurance, but rarely ask for it. A simple, "you're doing great," can mean the world to them, but they won't ask for it. They don't want to seem needy or insecure, even though they deeply crave validation, especially from people they respect. So they suffer in silence, hoping someone will notice their inner struggle without them having to spell it out. And when no one does, it reinforces the belief that their feelings don't matter, or that they're weak for having them. Number 10, they feel like they're living a double life. Perhaps the hardest part of high-functioning anxiety is the disconnect between how they feel and how they appear. They're seen as successful, confident, even inspiring, but internally it feels like they're barely holding it together. They fear being found out, that if someone looked too closely, they'd see the cracks. So they wear the mask a little tighter, smile a little wider, and silently hope someone will see through it and offer them space to be real. High-functioning anxiety is invisible to most, but for those living with it, it's a daily battle between appearing fine and feeling anything but. If this resonated with you, know that your struggles are valid, and just because you're high-functioning doesn't mean you don't need support. You deserve peace, not just performance. So take the first step, whether it's talking to a friend, setting a boundary, or simply giving yourself permission to slow down. Because healing begins the moment you stop pretending you're okay and start believing that it's okay not to be. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content on self-growth, psychology, and living better, inside and out.